Louisa is having a holiday sale now through December 26th, where you can enjoy a seamless end-of-year shopping experience with ready-to-gift boxes, personalized notes, and speedy worldwide shipping. Treat yourself and the ones you love to sustainable jewelry and discover some unique designs. Right now, you can enjoy a buy one, get one 40% off, plus a free travel case with purchases over $150. So make sure and check out the link in the description box, and you can get all of your holiday shopping done in one place. Today, we are going to be talking about the disappearance of Tara Breckenridge. Tara Suzette Breckenridge was born on September 30th, 1968, and she grew up in Del Rio, Texas, with her 4 siblings. After graduating high school in 1987, Tara moved to Houston, where she planned on attending photography school. After arriving in Houston, she got a job as a waitress at the men's club, which was like this upscale strip club. While this wasn't the job she had always dreamed of, she actually made really good money, and for the time being, she was content to work there. She worked at the men's club over the next 3 years while she attended school. In 1989, Tara began dating a man named Wayne Hecker, and they eventually moved in together. While Wayne didn't love Tara working at a strip club, he loved the money she made there, and he didn't really work. He was one of those people who would work here for a little while and then get fired and then go work at this place for a little while, so he relied heavily on Tara's income. They lived together and she kind of supported him. On August 23rd, 1992, Tara arrived at work for her shift. Normally, she worked until 2 a.m., but it was an extremely slow night at the men's club, so the manager decided to send 2 of the waitresses home early, just after midnight. And so he goes to the waitresses and he asks if any of them want to be sent home early. And he was kind of surprised when Tara said she did. Tara was the kind of girl who worked hard. She wanted to work her entire shift so she could make money. She was never one to volunteer to go home early. So Tara volunteers to go home. It's just after midnight, so Tara goes into the back to change her clothes, and she clocks out of the men's club at 12:29 a.m. As she walked out of the club, the doorman said hi to her, and she didn't acknowledge him. And this was very unlike Tara. She was very friendly. One of the bouncers at the club walked Tara to her car, which they always did for security reasons. They liked to make sure the women that worked inside the club were getting in their cars safely and leaving. He walks her to her Pontiac and waits for her to get in and drive away. This would be the last time Tara Breckenridge was ever seen alive. In the meantime, This is significant because Tara never went anywhere without her pepper spray. That was what it kept her feeling protected, so she took it everywhere. Wayne called the police, and they arrived at the scene where Tara's car was. They discovered that her alternator belt was missing. Right away, police launched a missing persons case to look into Tara's disappearance. As with most missing persons cases, Wayne was one of the first people that the police looked into. After all, when someone goes missing, it is typically someone related to the victim, a spouse or a family member or an acquaintance that is responsible. Police find out that Tara and Wayne's relationship was pretty rocky. In fact, Tara had confided in her mom that she was considering moving out, but she just kept hoping that they could make it work. 2 weeks before she went missing, Tara had gone and stayed with her family in Del Rio just for like a quick visit, and they said that something seemed off with Tara during this visit. They tried to ask if everything was okay, but Tara wouldn't talk about it. When police find this out, they are looking into Wayne's history even more closely. He doesn't really seem to have an alibi for the time period police believe that Tara had gone missing. Wayne spent the entire night at a pool hall. Well, most of the night. See, many witnesses said that Wayne had left around midnight and didn't return till about 1:45 a.m. Remember, Tara had left the club at 12:30. The location of her car was about 3 miles from the pool hall where Wayne had spent most, but not all, of the night. Police never released information that Wayne had given to them regarding his alibi, what he claimed to have been doing for that hour and 45-minute window when he left the pool hall. But whatever he did tell police, they were not entirely satisfied with. Wayne adamantly denied being involved in Tara's disappearance, and police had no evidence or witnesses to prove that he was. Investigators did say that they could not eliminate him as a suspect. What investigators do know is that Tara and Wayne had been having some problems in their relationship, and she was considering ending things with him. Now, Tara had been financially supporting Wayne for years, so police ended up arresting Robert Beatty for impersonating a police officer. This guy had a history of impersonating police officers and inserting himself into missing persons cases. After he was arrested, his home was searched, where police found detective magazines, handcuffs, and a BB gun. Robert had this whole case file he had compiled about Tara's disappearance, and in his opinion, a taxi driver or a detective wannabe, those were his words, were responsible for Tara's disappearance. While this guy was a little bit nuts and very much a detective wannabe, police never found anything that led to them believing he was involved in Tara's disappearance. Tara's case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries in 1995. During the episode, Wayne was interviewed and he was asked for a response to allegations that he was responsible for Tara's disappearance, and he said something really weird. So he's asked, a lot of people think you're responsible for her disappearance. What do you have to say to that? And he says, quote, "I don't owe an explanation to anybody but the Lord," end quote. He didn't deny being responsible, he just said he didn't owe anyone an explanation. Investigators had really hoped that Tara's case being featured on such a big show would bring new leads in Tara's case, but unfortunately, this was not the case. Like so many others, Tara's case went cold. Police were never able to find evidence that linked Wayne, Tara's boyfriend, or anyone else for that matter, to her disappearance. In the years that followed, both of Tara's parents passed away, never knowing what happened to their daughter. And this is like a little tragic piece of information I found while researching this case. Apparently, Tara was not the only child that her parents lost. In 1986, Tara's older sister was killed in a plane crash at the age of 22. And then, during her parents' 50th wedding anniversary celebration at this lake, Tara's brother, who was 43 at the time, drowned in the lake. So these poor people lost 3 of their children. Wayne Hecker, Tara's boyfriend, also died after a battle with cancer in October of 2015. Now, there are a couple of theories in this case. One theory is that Wayne Heckler killed Tara and it was a crime of passion. So it looked like their relationship was getting ready to end, and Wayne, who had basically been bumming off Tara for years, would have to figure out how to take care of himself. He'd have to get a job and keep a job. So it's possible that she went home and told him she was leaving, and he kind of lost his mind. Now remember, it seemed like something was on Tara's mind when she left the club. She didn't say goodbye to the bouncer. Maybe she knew she was someone she knew, maybe even just like a familiar face from the men's club, is because her pepper spray was in her car, so she didn't feel threatened enough at any point to grab her pepper spray. Anyway, this was the disappearance of Tara Breckenridge. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. These kind of cases are so frustrating to me because we just have no answers, and it could have been a million things. The fact that her body has never been found is super weird to me because I would think if her boyfriend was responsible, he didn't have enough time to get that body far. So, anyways, let me know what you think. Please like this video and leave me a comment. Your comments and likes help me so much. And make sure and check out the link in the description box for Ana Luisa's holiday sale. I'll see you guys in a few days.